Hey YouTube, this is We All Juggle Knives, and I've finally upgraded my wave to the latest model of the wave, called the new wave. This is the black oxide model. For years and years and years, I carried this, which is the original, the older version. It's the older version of the wave, and finally got the new one in. So this is going to be an overview of the current wave and just my thoughts on it. All right, but first let's give you a size comparison. All right, this is basically a full-size multi-tool, and then this is the Super Tool 300, which is about 4.5 inches, and this is the Juice, which is about 3.5. The wave is about 4. And in the world of multi-tools, the 4-inch multi-tools are usually considered normal or full size. This size would be more of a compact multi-tool. And the 4.5 are considered the very manly, heavy-duty or extra heavy-duty, extra large multi-tools. So the wave is right in the middle. Now, some main differences between the original and the new. The current wave is slightly wider, and the current wave, all the tools lock. That's the button to disengage the lock for the smaller tools, whereas on the older model, the longer tools lock with liner locks, but the smaller tools do not lock in place. The other huge difference between old and new, the older model has 5 screwdrivers, 4 flatheads of different size, and 1 Phillips. The current model has 1 flathead and then 2 bit drivers with removable double-sided bits. 1 micro, and they call this the large, but it's more like a medium compared to that. And a close-up of those bit drivers, the micro and the regular. As I said, these accept double-sided bits. This bit, you see, comes with a Phillips and flathead. And the micro driver, I don't know if you could see, but this is a micro flathead and a micro Phillips. Okay, so those are the 2 bit drivers on the wave. Now this model comes with a black oxide coating. They also have one with a satin finish. I got the black oxide because, knowing that I'm going to be showing it on video, it's actually easier for you to see a darker color than it is to see like a more highly reflective surface. So I got that to show it to you. But the reason they made this is mainly for troops that don't want something highly reflective. So Leatherman says this is mainly for the military, this coated model. I have to warn you that black oxide is a process that is extremely dirty, so when you get this, it's going to make your hands black just even brushing against it. I would recommend you thoroughly clean it with stuff like this, gun and knife cleaner, powerful degreaser, as well as soap and water, cotton swabs, toothbrush, Q-tips, buff it clean, spray it clean. You need to give it a thorough cleaning, or if you don't, it'll naturally come off over a period of several weeks of use. The finish is also just inherently, it's not a uniform finish. It's not like a Cerakote. All right, you see that? It will look more like a stone wash in that there's a lot of little, there's going to be a lot of little marks there. That does not bother me too much because from a distance, you can't really tell that from a distance. And I don't mind that it looks like a dark stone wash, but just know it's not going to be a uniform finish if that's what you were expecting. Now, cleaning it off is not a huge problem. But one thing I really didn't like, they put the black oxide finish on, and then they just assembled this without cleaning around the pivot areas of all the tools. So as this coating is coming off, it's coming off inside and between the pivot areas, resulting in the black oxide model having very gritty and somewhat tougher opening. I can feel the grit right there. It's very gritty and a little tougher compared to the satin finish model. And yeah, it'll work over time, but still, I mean, there's particles of grit inside there, so you have to like wear them down. Alright, so that's the straight dope on the finish. Now the Leatherman Wave features two different blades, both with one-handed opening, if you are right-handed, or if you just, you know, can use your right hand. Now I am left-handed, but I can use my right hand. So it's set up so both blades, right, a plain edge clip point right there, and then this fully serrated blade. Both blades are one-handed opening with your right hand, and they are locking blades. There's a little bit of jimping on the serrated blade, but there's none here. That is so that you can tell by touch which blade, like if it's dark or you're just not looking down, you know, you're fixing something. So yeah, the serrated blade has that tactile indicator. Now both of these blades are made from 420HC steel, right, which is the same steel that's used in a lot of buck knives, including the venerable Buck 110 and 112, which a lot of people really love, actually. It's got a high resistance to rust and an ease of resharpening. Now the Leatherman Charge, they make the blade out of 154 cm. It's more expensive, but I have no problem with 428C. I mean, it works for the Buck 110, so it's a good steel. And rounding out the tool set as far as the long tools, we have a wood saw, a metal file which is double-sided, right, has the diamond file on that side, wood saw, metal file, plain edge blade, fully serrated blade. Those are your four long tools. It does not have scissors in the long tool slot. They actually shrunk down the scissors and fit it in one of the smaller tool slots. As far as the shorter tools, there are 5 of them. This is a combination can opener and bottle opener, and there is a wire stripper notch right there. And as we covered before, this is the bit driver, this is the micro bit driver, this is a large flathead, and these are the small scissors. And here is a better look at the scissors. They are spring-loaded like so, and that is how they are spring-loaded. See that there? Right, and to fold them in, right, that actually folds like that. That's the release for all the locking tools. The small ones all lock as well. Right, and that is your scissors. Now, one thing worth noting is that even though the 4 longer tools are all accessible when the tool is folded, the smaller tools are just the opposite. You have to at least partially unfold the handles of the pliers to get at these tools, right? Whereas in some competing multi-tools, you have all of the tools, even the smaller ones, accessible without having to open the handles of the pliers. So which is better? In general, I would prefer if every tool was accessible without having to open the handles. And another feature that you have to open the handles for is to read the ruler markings. You know, it has ruler markings right there and ruler markings right there. And again, some other tools, they have the markings on the outside, so you can, you can read them without opening the handles like that. Now here are the pliers, the needle nose part, the regular part, the soft wire cutters, and down there Leatherman says those are the hard wire cutters, right? So the 4-tool or 4-part pliers, they are not spring-loaded. Now the Wave does have an occasional problem. If every once in a while you close it, it'll start to jam up to where you're closing it, and the end of the pliers is actually pushing against the screwdriver as you're trying to close it, and it gets jammed up. And when that happens, you kind of have to fiddle with it a bit and you know, close it slowly. So yeah, there is the jam up problem just every once in a while. There is a structure there that's supposed to prevent it, but sometimes it doesn't quite, it's not quite in the right position to close. Now about the smaller tool set, what is missing from here? Do you see anything missing? I'll give you a hint. It's a major tool, it's a foundational tool, it's a tool that was found on the World War II GI utility knives. Any guesses? Yup, the reamer awl. This has no reamer awl on its tool set. Now, here's the juice, and here's the reamer on the juice. Here we have the Super Tool 300, which has a reamer, and the Leatherman Surge, which I'm eventually going to review. The Leatherman Surge also has a reamer like this. Here's my oldest Leatherman I own, and it also has an awl. All right, and here's a competing tool from Victorinox, and it has an awl with a hook. Okay, so yes, awls and reamer awls, but no awl on the Wave. So why does this not have an awl? You know, that's a really good question. You know, some people would say, oh, maybe they just don't think it's important, but as I just showed, they have it on a bunch of their other tools, on the Surge, on the Juice. You know, it's not like Leatherman is on record as saying that awls are not important. They include them on a lot of their other tools, so they know what it is, and it's important on some tools. It's not just a leatherworker's tool. As I said, it goes back in history, and awl has always been recognized as something useful. It's a hand drill, a hand bore. You can scrape both with the tip as well as with the edge. You can work leather, you can puncture whatever you need to puncture, you can thread things through here. I really don't think an awl is optional. You know, it's not like the corkscrew or a fish scale, or it's not like a situational tool or over-specialized tool. And you might say, well, where would you put it? Well, you know, I'm not an engineer that works for them. It's not my job or your job to design the tool for them. We just tell them what we want. But the most likely slot would probably be this large integral flathead, because it already has the 2 bit drivers, and you know, you could make a one-sided bit that was as wide as this. If you're going to have the bit driver anyway and you're really concerned about having a larger flathead, you could make a one-sided bit that was as wide as that. So that's just one idea to free up a slot. And while we're talking about this lone integral flathead, you know, it occurs to me, Victorinox puts this tool on its multi-tools, which is a chisel with a little box opener on the corner and then some wire strippers. And yeah, that's a chisel. It's a chisel tip. And it occurs to me that this one slot here, you know, it could be a lot of things. They could change this to a lot of things, or if you wanted to, you can grind this to be more of a chisel end. So you could actually convert this into a chisel if you wanted to. I've also heard people use this as a pry bar, right, as a little mini widgy pry bar. I could see that. Leatherman does not call it a pry bar or, advocate that. If you go to their website, they describe this as a medium flathead screwdriver. But yeah, I have seen people using this as a pry bar. The Wave also has a recessed lanyard loop to access it. Open the saw. The lanyard loop is actually right there. You're going to need something like an awl. Hold on to push it out. Try to do this around the viewfinder. There you go, and that is the lanyard loop. All right, you see that there? And then you can push it back like that. So that is the lanyard loop. This is the nylon belt pouch that mine came with. See, it's like MOLLE compatible, and then it's got a Velcro overflap with a drainage hole. Velcro goes to there, and yeah, that is the pouch. I have heard a lot of people complaining that they don't like it or that it's not the best pouch, but love it or hate it, that's the pouch that it comes with. Okay, well, I hope you're digging this overview. Final thoughts. It really is a great tool. It's just a pretty well-rounded, pretty well-made. The fit and finish, I have to admit, was not as good as some Victorinox tools, but that's a minor point. Yeah, overall, I like it a lot. It's going to be in my my main steady rotation for tools that I use. So there you go. Those are my thoughts on the Leatherman Wave. This has been We All Juggle Knives and Multi-Tools. Stay tuned for many more videos. I'm out.